now and again, a company comes along and tries to change things up, and that's exactly what TRYX is trying to do with the way we view airflow. And today we're going to find out if TRYX has set a brand new standard when it comes to airflow inside of our PC cases, or if this is just another gimmick.
Now, before we get too deep into this video, I did need to give a shout out to today's sponsor, FlexiSpot, and their E7 Plus desk. I have owned a lot of desks in my life, but the E7 is 100% my absolute favorite. And if you are ever in need of a desk, then this right here is the one that you want. They have 4 legs for increased stability at max height, meaning this desk will hardly wobble at all, which is a huge issue with 2-legged sit-stand desks. And you get insane 540-pound capacity and a 15-year warranty. But by far the best thing about these desks is the level of customization that you get. You have so many tabletop options compared to other brands that it would be silly not to choose FlexiSpot. For me, I chose the dark bamboo. I thought it looked really nice with my new setup here, and I chose the black frame, which I absolutely think is a great change up from the white desk that I had previously, which was also an E7, by the way. Oh, and if you're worried that this thing's not going to be tall enough, think again. This thing can rise up to 51.6 inches. That's pretty crazy. So if you are in the need or you just want a brand new desk, then FlexiSpot needs to be your first choice. I'll leave links in the description down below. Now back to the video.
So crossflow fans aren't actually like a brand new thing. I think it was like a year and a half ago. I watched Steve from Gamers Nexus review a like small form factor case that used a crossflow fan instead of traditional fans, and he was actually really impressed with the performance of that, and that makes me curious as to why more companies have not decided to put those fans inside of cases until TRYX came along and threw it inside of the Flova F50. That is this beautiful case that we have right here. Now, aside from the really cool fan, there's actually quite a bit going on with this case that makes it a little bit more unique than what you usually find. The bottom here is breathable, and it is fabric, as well as the front portion of the case that is fabric as well. If the crossflow fan is not enough for you, you can also add in 3 120mm fans up front. You have space for 2 140mm or 120mm fans here on the side, as well as space for 3 fans up top or a 360mm radiator. You do get quite a few dust filters. You get one on the bottom, one on the back side here, and you also get one on the front, even though I thought that maybe the fabric would be our dust filter, but they do include one here in the back, which honestly, with all this in the way, kind of makes me feel like it would restrict airflow, but we'll see in the end. So the supposed benefits of the crossflow fan here are that we're going to be able to get a more uniform air distribution. We're going to get a lower noise level. Apparently, when this thing is in like full operation, it's like the quietest PC that there ever was. And we're going to get a cleaner aesthetic since you don't have to like cram fans inside of this thing. It leaves the entire viewing panel open, which could be a good or a bad thing depending on what you like your PC to look like. Now, I am really excited to see just how well the crossflow fan works for today's build. It's always fun when I get to put together a PC that offers something a little bit different instead of the same run-of-the-mill like aquarium style PC. Now, something that is kind of a bummer with this case is that you are kind of limited in what size GPU you can throw inside of here if you wanted to use the crossflow fan. With the fan installed in the front, you can run up to a 360mm graphics card, and if you remove the fan, you could fit up to a 420mm graphics card. So if your plan was to put like a 5090 Astral in here, you would have to take away the crossflow fan, which would leave you with just the case the way that it is. So you would really need to just like the design here, and if you wanted to put like a real beefy card in, which does kind of suck because that would be the reason that I would purchase this case over the like humongous amount of other case options that there are available. But you know what? That's enough about the case. Let's go ahead and grab the PC hardware that we're going to be putting inside of this beautiful thing. So because the case is unique, we're going to be putting together a pretty high-end system in it. This build comes in somewhere around like $2,100, and if you have a pretty decent budget for your gaming PC and you want something extremely good, this should be one of your options. It's going to come together and it's going to be a phenomenal gaming PC. I'm not saying it's the only option, but it's definitely a good one. And we're going to start where we always start, by going over the motherboard option. So we're gonna be using the MSI B850 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi 6E. This board does not have a lot of bells and whistles, but it's perfect for a gaming PC. I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to motherboards, tend to way overspend, and a lot of times I think it's because you think the board looks pretty, and in reality, you're gonna spend double the price for a board that looks beautiful when you're gonna get the exact same performance from a board that was $139 like this thing was right here. This is a fantastic option that you're not gonna overspend on, and it still looks great. It just doesn't have like 90 pounds of heatsink on it. Now, I love that I say that, but there's probably somebody in the comment section right now typing like, I could never live without. Listen, I'm not talking about you, dude. I'm talking about just the person who wants to play video games. Take it easy. You see, this thing is beautiful. The only thing it's missing that you might want is maybe some like heat sinks down here at the bottom, but we're gonna be running a vertically mounted GPU. You're not gonna see any of that anyway. This is definitely a fantastic option if you need a motherboard at a good price that is going to perform well for you. I guess we'll start destroying the room now. Oh, dang it, I didn't grab my gloves. Listen up, kids. You gotta make sure you wear your gloves, because if you don't wear your gloves, your fingerprints are gonna be inside of the PC and someone's gonna steal them. I'm just kidding. I wear the gloves because, I don't know, they look cool, I guess. So let's go ahead and start with the CPU choice for today's build, which is the always wonderful, always beautiful 9800X3D. It is the most popular choice for a reason. When you're building a gaming PC, this is the one you want. All right, I'm gonna need you to shush. Put the CPU in. We did it! So for the RAM we're gonna be going with today, I decided to go broke and pick up 32 gigs of DDR5 memory. What we have here is T-Force's T-Create RAM, 6400 mega transfers, CL32. It's going to be the best option for our gaming PC. Plus, I'm pretty sure at the time of purchase, this RAM was like one of the cheapest options there were, and I actually really like the T-Create RAM. I've used it in numerous builds. I love the low profile look of them. I love the like ventilated top here. It just looks really clean and really beautiful. Plus, these are low profile sticks, and I need low profile sticks for the cooler that's getting thrown on here, because that thing is a beast. All right, now let's put the first stick in. And second. All right, that's looking good. So this board is Gen 5 ready when it comes to your NVMe. However, I picked up a Gen 4 NVMe. It's a 2 terabyte drive for today's build, and I did so for good reason. I don't need a Gen 5 NVMe in this build. It's not gonna do me any good. This is a gaming PC, so a Gen 4 drive is just fine. Please, if you're just building a gaming PC and you don't need insane data transfer speeds, then a Gen 4 drive is fine. It's gonna save you a little bit of money, and you're gonna have a wonderful system, and you wouldn't notice the difference anyways. Oh man, this board is looking beautiful. I have to get a good look at it now, because in just a second, I'm not gonna be able to like probably lift it without it bending, and second of all, I'm never gonna see the rest of this board. All right, let's go ahead and grab that CPU cooler. So here it is. This is the TRYX by TRYX, and I love that the like slogan around this CPU cooler is that it is made to be seen and not heard, and it's definitely something that you see, because this thing is huge. When I opened it the first time, it immediately gave me like Noctua NHD15 vibes. This thing is absolutely massive, and it has two of the largest or like thickest fans that I've seen on an air cooler. All right, get this off. Check that out. This thing is an absolute unit. If you threw this, it would kill somebody. It has two gigantic fans in here, which are gonna be able to move way more air at a lower RPM. So this thing is going to be whisper quiet, and it should be able, with the amount of heat pipes on here, it should be able to provide some absolutely tremendous cooling, especially on a 9800X3D, which doesn't get crazy hot, but it should be running icy cold with this thing on there. Plus, this thing satiates everybody's need to have a screen inside of their PC, because there is a really beautiful 60 Hertz ISP panel right here built into this humongous unit of a CPU cooler. But now let's break into this accessory box so I can figure out how to mount this beast. Instructions. Now that's a color choice. Yeah, so we're gonna do this together because I have no idea what I'm doing. Apparently this top piece comes off. Ooh, it's just magnetic. No wires at all, I like that. And the center fan should just slide right out. Oh, it's a little harder than you'd think it is. And there it is. Ah, the center fan is not actually the same size as this front fan. The center fan is just a normal 120 millimeter fan. It's just got a larger housing, which makes it look like it's the same size as this. It's probably just for aesthetics, but it's something to know. Because I could have swore both fans were like that size, which that's big fan. And now we're gonna install it like we do any other large tower. I'm just gonna throw you a quick montage of me throwing this thing on the board. That's the reason why I say it really didn't matter that we didn't have the like heat sinks and all that stuff on the bottom of here, because you just weren't gonna see them. Honestly, you're not gonna see the motherboard in general with this build. So, but what do you say you and I go and put this thing inside of its case? If it'll fit, because this thing is just enormous. All right, that was really easy. There's a ton of room in this case. So I gotta say that this right here is probably the best example of why I'm gonna need you to do me the biggest favor. If you're having a little bit of fun here with me today, please consider hitting the subscribe button. My wife is vacuuming the house, and outside in my neighbor's yard, the largest lawnmower in the history of lawnmowers is driving right past my door, and my son is screaming. So it's almost impossible for me to get these videos done. So if you could help by at least just slamming that subscribe button, that would be absolutely wonderful. And while you're down there, hit the like button, and apparently there's a hype button too. If you want to hit the hype button, that would be super dope. So that maybe one day I can get like a studio and I don't have to have like 100 obstacles. Power supply. So giving our system the juice that it needs is this 1000 watt Steel Legend power supply by ASRock. Now, this power supply actually comes in as a combo deal with the graphics card. So we saved a little bit of money on the build by going with this. This is a great power supply. It's gonna be more than enough wattage for what we need, and it's gonna help us, make sure that we can upgrade this system down the road if we want to. Now, in saying that this was like a combo deal, I probably gave away what the graphics card is for anybody who looks online at deals all the time. It's been around for a little while. I've actually thought about buying this combo before, and I just never did. Finally decided to pull the trigger. I have no regrets. Although I'm sure somebody out there is probably watching this video going, no, that power supply blew up my sister's uncle's brother's PC, and it's awful. I'd never use it. I'm not sure why I turned that person into like a 80-year-old man, but oh well. Chill out, Gramps. So with the power supply installed in the case, I want to go ahead and I want to plug all of it into the motherboard, but in order to do that, I'm going to need to use the cable extensions that I purchased for today's build. Typically, when it comes to white builds like this, I just go all white, but instead I decided to go with like a white and gray. Unfortunately, I was hopeful that this gray was a little lighter to kind of match this. It is a little bit darker. Like when I say a little bit, I mean a lot a bit darker, but I don't think it's going to look bad. I still think that this is gonna look really good. I kind of wish that I would have gone all white, but it's too late now. We've gone too far. It's going in there. Now we are getting super close to throwing in our graphics card and seeing just how well this thing performs, but before we do that, I want to add a couple extra fans in here just to make sure that everything stays nice and cool. I did pick up a pack of reverse blade Be Quiet fans. I'm going to put 2 reverse blade fans up top here to bring in fresh air into the CPU cooler, and then an additional regular Be Quiet fan to help exhaust that hot air. I also have this pack of Johnsbow fans. It's like 3 120 millimeter fans put together. I'm gonna add this to the front of the case. Now, I'm not going to run this during our thermal testing so that we can get a good idea of how well the crossflow fan works without additional intake fans. I'm just adding these in because I'm most likely gonna run these anyways. So I'm just gonna put them in now. I'd really like to have different fans, but you're not gonna see these anyways, and I'm a sucker for adding in a bunch of airflow. So we have landed smack dab in the center of everyone's favorite part of any of the PC builds I put together, and that is the graphics card selection. And since it's been a while since I have built with this card, I felt like we needed to build with it again, and that is the AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT. Fantastic 1440p gameplay, headed into 4K gameplay if we want to. It's a wonderful card, and I am excited to build with it again. We put it in one of the PC Build Up Challenge giveaway PCs, and I really loved it, so we're gonna build with it again, and it's gonna look wonderful in here. But now what I need to do is I need to figure out how to get this thing in here mounted vertically, which is going to be the most snug fit that there has ever been in any graphics card in any case ever. So I'm gonna let the camera roll while I just struggle bust to get this thing in here, and you guys can watch and laugh, I guess. So this is without a doubt like the tightest fit that I have ever seen when it comes to adding a graphics card into a PC case, but nevertheless, it did fit. So now what I think we need to do is we need to button everything up and throw you one of them little montages we do around here. What do you think? I think it's about time for that, so let's get that done. So out of all the things that this case does extremely well, peace and quiet needs to be at the absolute top of that list because this thing runs extremely quiet. If you're just going to use the crossflow fan and the exhaust fan that this case does come with, it runs at an impressively low 35 dBA. And for frame of reference, I built in a case that was specifically designed to be as quiet as possible. I mean, it was fully padded, it was pretty crazy, and that thing ran at its lowest dBA at 33. So this is pretty darn close, and that case had nowhere near the cooling potential that this one does. On screen, I will put up some clips of the system running in a few different configurations. The crossflow fan does have 3 different speeds, so I wanted to make sure that we saw the performance from each speed. Most tests in this video were performed using only the crossflow fan and the exhaust fan, even though I added in a whole bunch of additional fans to this build. And after those tests were complete, I did crank up every single fan in the case to 100% because, well, just because. I will say this though, aside from the idle speeds being extremely quiet, once you crank that crossflow fan up all the way, this thing can get pretty loud. Once you put all your panels on, once that crossflow bar starts trying to suck air in through this side panel here, it almost makes like a whistling noise, which got kind of irritating, but fortunately, in our gameplay testing, the PC didn't get anywhere near hot enough to push that thing at the 3000 RPM max that it has, so I didn't have to hear any of that. I'll go ahead and add the audio clip of that sound so that you can hear exactly what I'm talking about. Now for thermals, I was extremely impressed at how well this system performed using only the 2 included fans in this case. There are definitely different configurations of hardware that you could throw in here and really kick up some heat and put the fans inside of here to the test, but for the moderately powerful PC that we put together, this system would function perfectly fine using just the crossflow fan and the exhaust combo. Although I would recommend at least adding 2 intake fans up top like I did here if you were going to be running an air cooler, because turning those fans on dropped CPU temps in this build like crazy. Unfortunately, turning those fans on didn't do as much for the GPU, but it really doesn't matter. The GPU was in absolutely no danger of overheating at any point in time. They're actually some of the better GPU temps that I have ever seen. Now, as far as build ease, if you completely ignore just how difficult it was for me to get the vertical mounted GPU in here, then it was extremely easy to build in this PC case. If I could go back in time and redo this build, I would probably go ahead and just mount the graphics card to the motherboard like normal, and then pick up 2 120mm fans down here to blow air directly into the graphics card for additional cooling, but we live and we learn, and you get to live from me. As far as cable management, you get plenty of room in the back here to make sure that everything is nice and organized. You do get a few tie downs, nothing too crazy, but I believe that the idea was to try to keep the price point of this case down as much as possible while including this extremely great cooling option. The TRYX CPU air cooler that we have in here is an absolute unit and did a perfect job keeping our 9800X3D nice and cool throughout all of our testing. TRYX is responsible for designing that panoramic AIO that everybody loves so much and is used in so many builds, and the TRYX is a great addition to their lineup. The software is simple to use. Just click a preloaded template or add in a video file of your own, check the box on what hardware you'd like to monitor, and it just works. And honestly, that's really all you can ask for. So when it comes to the looks of this PC case, I mean, you see it. This thing is an extremely beautiful PC case. A lot of times when I build white systems, they come off as like way too harsh, and you put RGB in them and then they're just unbelievably bright. And after a while, it can kind of get obnoxious, and I don't feel like that is the case with this build right here. There's like just the right amount of RGB in here just from these fans, and then you get the screen. There's a little bit of light, nothing too crazy, and with the like fabric here, it doesn't like come off as like super bright and super harsh on the eyes. It does a much better job of like blending itself into furniture rather than being like this constant bright light that you always see inside of your office. It's a nice change up. Now, if any of the items that I used to put this beautiful thing together are something that you might be interested in picking up for yourself, which I couldn't blame you, this is an extremely good looking and high power gaming PC, then I'm gonna drop links to everything that I used in today's video in the description down below. They are affiliate links. I do earn a small commission if you purchase from those links, and every dollar earned is used to help improve the channel and keep me in PC hardware, since this is probably the most expensive job to do ever now. But supporting me lets me keep building these PCs for you. But remember, no matter where you are in the world, I hope that you are having the most fantastic day, and I'm gonna see you right here for the next video.